we practice to deceive. Yep, that's right, folks. That is the all-new campaign slogan for the Hildebeest. You know, what a difference a weekend makes, folks. What a difference. You know, Friday, whenever I reported on this story of the email reopening, right? The email investigation case reopening, I was, like most of you, thrilled to the point of non-descriptability. That's right. I could not even describe the amount of elation that I felt on Friday. Of course, doing as I do every day in the day-to-day grind, the anti-COINTELPRO show, research, research, research. I triple source everything, and then I triple source it again. So it's triple sourced. I don't know what the word for a quintep, well, that's 5, 6. Sextuplet sourced. I think that's the correct word to use in this instance. At any rate, I research like a voracious beast when it comes to the lies that the Democrats tell each and every day in lockstep with the establishment Republicans and the mainstream media. That being said, you know, Friday I was in a really good mood. Today, not so much. Because today, folks, I found out, and this report is coming via zerohedge.com, one of the best sources of breaking information there is out there besides the Drudge Report, Daily Caller, and Breitbart.com. That being said, John Podesta's best friend at the DOJ will be in charge of the DOJ's probe into Huma Abedin's emails. That's right. Huma Abedin's email investigation will be, I know a lot of you are shocked, as I am. Not. You know, this is just becoming so passé, right? I mean, when telling the truth is a revolutionary act, well, telling lies is just a passé way of, you know, trying to hold on to the ball till the clock runs out, right? It's the political equivalent to the, you know, the weasel move of falling on the ball. That being said, you know, how do we know Democrats are lying? How do we know Republicans are lying? Their lips are moving. So the DOJ apparently sent a letter out. Breaking, Justice Department says it'll dedicate all needed resources to quickly review emails in Clinton case. The 650,000 emails that they have to review in, well, right at a week. So, yeah, that was really good news. They're going to get on the job, right? In spite of all the news that we have heard in the mainstream, that the DOJ, and of course from WikiLeaks, our national hero, right along there with James O'Keefe, we have heard that the DOJ has, you know, before and after the non-indictment of Hillary Rodham Clinton, the Justice Department was trying to squash the case. And supposedly, you know, because, folks, we don't know what's really going on. All we know is what they are telling us, right? And they never say anything without a reason. So, the Justice Department came out with a little tweet. I guess this was on October 31st, 3:16 p.m., and they were going to dedicate all needed resources. And the letter was signed from Attorney General Peter J. Kadzik. Peter J. Kadzik. Kadzik. Why does that name sound familiar? Well, it sounds familiar because that just so happens to be the individual that had dinner with John Podesta the night, officially one day after the Benghazi hearing, the night after, of the, defunct Benghazi hearing. Well, the night after that happened, John Podesta had dinner with Mr. Kadzik, the same Mr. Kadzik that is going to be in charge of the DOJ probe. Can everyone join me in saying, what the F? Or to my friends who aren't offended by language, what the fuck? I mean, really? Are we really supposed to believe anything that comes out of James Comey's mouth? Really? Do you really believe that he all of a sudden got a case of conscience? No, he did not. The two scenarios that I am left dealing with, folks, in the real world, not the world of make-believe in D.C., the District of Criminals, but the real world. And in the real world, we are left with two options, two scenarios. Number one, Comey was simply covering his ass. That's right, he is in CYA mode, knowing, like we all know, that Donald J. Trump is going to tsunami. It's not going to be a wave. It's going to be a tsunami election. He is going to tsunami all over the wildebeest and all over the mainstream media and all over the establishment. So, in the best case scenario, he's just covering his ass because he knows Donald Trump is going to win by such a massive amount of votes that it will be a clear mandate to dissolve, to get rid of, to go to war with the New World Order, the establishment, mainstream media politics, right? Clear mandate. So that's the first option. That's the best option. Number two, par for the course for the devious, dastardly Democrats. That's right. And why do they do this, folks? Why do the Democrats, the pasty-faced freaks of society, why do they always pull dirty tricks? Why do they always commit voter fraud? Folks, it's because they cannot compete. And if they cannot compete, and this is people like George Soros, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, just Paul Ryan, go down the line of the establishment wonks. And I'll find you a pasty-faced loser that could never compete in the real world, so he had to cheat. So they can't compete, so they have to cheat. That's why this is all going on, folks. If Hillary Clinton was not such a corrupted individual, right, she could win on her own merits. But since she started dirty dealing in the game of politics so many decades ago, she could never compete. She was the pasty-faced loser that spent her nights figuring out how to destroy the normal, productive members of society, right? Because she wasn't one of them. The only way she and her ilk, Saul Alinsky, George Soros, Al Sharpton, just you know, just pick a name. Eric Holder. Just pick a name and you will find somebody who could never compete in the real world, so they had to cheat. So that's where it stands. We either have a corrupt Comey covering his ass, or we have a corrupt Comey that is working in lockstep with the DOJ, with Loretta, I plead the fifth, Lynch, and Mr. Kadzik, and I use the term Mr. very, very loosely, because this turd is in no shape, form, or fashion a man, and should be referred to as a man. He is a worm, as is Podesta, as is all of the mainstream media hacks, the establishment Republicans, and all of the devious Democrats, all of the globalists. Yes, right, Mr. Global, you are a worm and a weasel, and you can never win in the arena of ideas. That's right. That's why you have to pull dirty tricks, right? That's why you have to collude with your cronies and your minions in secret, giving them the primary debate questions beforehand, because you cannot compete, so you have to cheat. Well, folks, I've got one thing to say. Do not trust James Comey for 1 second. You know, as each and every one of these Democrats and Republicans, at one time or another, they have praised James Comey, right? I mean, all I can see on Fox News is Judge Andrew Napolitano, Megyn Kelly, and all of the usual suspects, right? Saying, you know, what an honorable man James Comey is. Really? Did you not forget Mr. Honorable was the head of HSBC, the criminal bank that has been laundering billions and billions and billions of dollars for the drug cartels, with barely a slap on the wrist. And that's because they had at their helm one Mr. James Comey, who was a federal prosecutor, who was best friends with Loretta Lynch and Eric Holder and Barack Obama and George Bush and all of the usual New World Order weasel suspects. That's right. So, sorry to tell you folks, but this little reopening is nothing but a distraction. They are trying as best as possible, folks. They are trying as best as possible, folks, to get you to looking over here at this shiny new object that they're playing with, right? While WikiLeaks keeps coming out. While on Wednesday, mark your calendars, folks, on Wednesday, there will be a National Enquirer document dump that will blow the doors off of the Democrat Party. That's right. We'll blow the doors off all of the dirty dealing Clinton cronies. It's going to out each and every one of them. And the stories that you're going to hear on Wednesday, they will not be able to recover from. And it doesn't matter. I mean, hell, they could kill Hillary tomorrow, and it didn't matter who it was they put in her place. They would lose as badly as she's about to lose. Because, folks, this is not just an election that is fighting for the soul of America. We are fighting for the soul of the world. We are fighting for productivity and prosperity, right? They want to give us just what they want to give us, just enough to barely survive, but not enough to get ahead. Nope. They don't want any of us to ever reach the, financial stratosphere that they're in, that they have got there from corruption. They have got everything they have gotten from stealing. Now, George Soros started this a long time ago, folks. He started turning his, Hungarian Jewish neighbors in to the Nazis. And then him and his father would go in and rob those neighbors after the Nazis had pilfered what they wanted. So George Soros and all of his minions and cronies and all of his other corporate fascist partners around the globe, they have been doing this for quite a while. So it's up to us now, folks, to not be distracted, to keep our eyes on the prize, and to take back this world for we, the productive of society. This is Joe Wayne with the Anti-COINTELPRO Show and InstinctForSurvival.com. Good day.